I will defeat the Powerpuff Girls, or my name isn't Mojo Projo.
Arna Kennerüd Skycaptain versus Yuriko, Vihan, and Baru. Well, we've got means of card draw, means of ramping if we're lucky. Can maybe equip that to the Esper Sentinel, so yeah, quite like that hand. Okay, looks as though Yuriko's mulligan down to 4, so hopefully won't scoop on us. Knowing Yuriko, a mulligan down to 4 probably means it wins on turn 3. Disciple of the Vault for the treasure player. Spectral Sailor is a decent flyer that can evade its way over things with Yuriko. Draw into Stone Hewer Giant. We haven't seen any non-creature spells yet, but maybe our next opponent will, into the Esper Sentinel. Alright, Demand Dancers can discard a card to draw 2 with that, and we will draw with the Esper Sentinel. They discard a Vault of Whispers, and we get into a Raffine's Tower that we might have liked to fetch with the Flooded Strand, but I suppose if we're playing and equipping the Dowsing Dagger in the next few turns, then we can afford to get down a tap land. And Spectral Sailor going to swing in to the left against the green player, likely replace it with Yuriko. And there we are, Commander Ninjutsu. See what they can reveal. Revealing a decent spell, Misdirection. Alright, and there's a Scrubland, so yeah, we'll just get down the Scrubland. We'll go Dowsing Dagger here. And this player's already got blockers in the way, so we'll try and get through the green player next turn. Give the plant tokens over to Vihan. In worst case scenario, this is equipped to the Esper Sentinel and the tax is more difficult to pay because it will have 3 power. Still no green mana for the Beirut player, so we should be able to get through there easily enough. Felwar Stone with the tax being paid by the looks of it. No, allowing us to get into another land, so we've cleared a few lands off the top here, which is good. Especially in an Esper deck. Reckless Fireweaver wants to see artifacts hit play. Now the problem is if we go for paying for the Dowsing Dagger, they may well be able to use Misdirection onto it. Although, can they change an equip cost, an equip activation onto a creature that isn't ours? Not sure if they can legally do that. Anyway, swing it in at Beirut again. Revealing a Vamp Tutor, which will be able to put something on top and make massive damage for Yuriko. Alright, there is a Denetha, so we've got another creature to play now. Let's go straight in for the equip on Esper Sentinel. That might dictate to us which land we play this turn. Priority being held up by Yuriko, as you would expect. And then swing in at the left with the 3-2 Esper Sentinel. Margin's hit there, so we will certainly transform it. And able to tap that down for 3 mana straight away, so ramping ahead very nicely. Don't have a 4-drop or anything. I imagine Rhystic Study is going to get countered here, but we'll try and get down Raffine's Tower and a Rhystic Study. We don't want counter magic sitting in Yuriko's hand. Alright, does allow to get it down. So just make a land and pass, and that is a very successful turn for us. Hopefully the green player can get into some of his green mana here. Nope, just decides to scoop rather predictably. At least we got to target him with this first, but I don't know why you keep a hand with no green mana in a green deck. So, yeah, another ban, I think. Being very, very aggressive with these bans nowadays. It's just one fewer player to deal with this very strong Yuriko deck. Vihan into play with no treasures available. Pays into Rhystic Study though. Spectral Sailor can come back down with Flash in order to trigger the Yuriko again. Assuming that they've got more Ninja. Paying into Rhystic Study as well. Alright, so it's us that's getting hit now because we've got the most mana. And there's Ninjutsu for a Moon Circuit Hacker. When that one deals combat damage, draw a card. And they won't have to discard because it entered this turn, and they'll trigger Yuriko twice. So plenty of card advantage here. Nothing for an Ornithopter. Deals 2 for the Silver Fur Master though, which is obviously another ninja. Ornithopter into the Study probably lets us draw, I would assume. There's a Roaming Throne. Could name human with that. I think our commander's a human. Yes it is, so it will trigger both the Esper Sentinel and Arna twice. But I think Yuriko's going a bit too fast for us, unfortunately. Silver Fur Master will draw us again. So they're very much reliant on that miscalculation, is it called? Misdirection. Drew into a Nettles Seist off the Silver Fur Master and a Solemn Simulacrum this turn. So after Solemn we've got 3 mana left, which does pretty much nothing. We can't cheat the equip cost of the Argentum armor here, unfortunately. So maybe I can go for the Roaming Throne here, and it'll be a decent target for equipment because it has Ward, and we'll be triggering Esper Sentinel twice in the meantime. So get down an island. We'll be able to get down the Nettle Seist and start doubling up that on our next turn. Whatever, I'm not very hopeful that we'll do much this game. Name human with the Roaming Throne and go for the Nettle Seist. And that is a living weapon, a 4/4, so don't even have to equip it, we could just swing in with it and we'll get another Nettle Seist equipped to it. Obviously the germ will die. Noteworthy that Yuriko is missing lands at least, which is good. So if we could manage to land Imprisoned in the Moon or something like that onto this, it would be good. Sol Ring into the multiple taxes. And once you get multiple taxes like this on the stack, there's no point in paying any of them, so we probably won't. Probably going to draw a lot. An Urborg, an Anguished Unmaking, we can try and point at the Yuriko, and a Sword of Feast and Famine. And the artifact entering triggers the Reckless Fireweaver, and then it is a Vandal Blast, of course. So that's pretty much all our stuff going down. I don't know if I would have cast that Vandal Blast. I know that we're drawing into a lot of cards, but I'd love to know what my opponent intends on doing about the Yuriko player, because our life total is already starting to teeter. Alright, so pointing the life loss over at the Yuriko player when the artifacts go down, and now Vihan swinging into the right. Well, there is a Lotus Petal. They've got 3 ninja, so yeah, very much worried about what Yuriko's going to do on this turn. It's amazing what you can do with such a small amount of mana. And we're not likely to be helping our opponent all that much now that he's taken care of our board. Although there's more spot removal in Generous Gift, so maybe we will be able to do something. Problem is, you can cheat the command attacks on this, as we've seen on this channel various amounts of times. Depending on how new you are to the channel, you may or may not have seen Yuriko, but we've played it a hell of a lot, and you never have to pay command attacks on it. So anyway, there's a Spectral Sailor in for another land. Probably going to play the Urborg because we do have Cabal Coffers in this list, but I think this game's going to be too spiky for us, and everything swings in at us as you would expect. So we're taking 4, 5, 6, 7 damage right off the bat, and with the triggers on the stack they could go for this Vamp Tutor to deal a whole bunch of damage to us. So going to loot with the Moon Circuit Hacker and revealing a Spell Snare, a March of Swirling Mist, definitely too strong for us in this deck. Ingenious Prodigy as well. So knocking us down to 18, discarding to the loot effect a Windcaller Avon. Still missing out on lands seemingly though. So maybe we just have to hold up interaction until their next turn, wait for them to swing in and then try and remove Yuriko. And playing the Prodigy into our Heuristic Study. So that's simply a 0/1 with Skulk, which means it can't be blocked except by creatures with 0 power. There just so happen to be some 0 power creatures over here. Alright, another land for us. So get down the Urborg, we're going to be discarding some lands this turn. So basically, they did manage to get a land down there, by the way. We want to be encouraging them to use their mana to interact with us. Unfortunately, Misdirection is free. So it might be that even if we do remove Yuriko, they can just get it straight back into play. They'll at least have to bounce back some of their creatures, but yeah, is there any point in this whatsoever? Are we best just trying to make a board of our own? I suppose we could discard some equipment and try and set up an unfinished business with an Argentum armor or something, but yeah, we're missing haste. I don't think that's really going to do anything for us. Should hold up 2 pieces of interaction, but we'll just play our commander for the fun of it. Like I said before, we're not going to do anything this game anyway. And then we discard. I think I'd rather have the Sword of Feast and Famine over the Nettle Seist, so Argentum armor and sword can go down, and then some lands I think. Vihan continuing to trigger without any treasure in play. And the 3/3 goes into the right again. Hit the Motherlode, speaking of treasure, discover 10. And then you get treasure tokens equal to the difference. Drawing 2 Sword of the Animist. Alright, and discovering an Anguished Unmaking, meaning they got 7 treasure tokens, which means that the Reckless Fireweaver triggers 7 times. And the Anguished Unmaking does count as being cast, so it will trigger Heuristic Study for a card draw again. And we get into another land. Anguished Unmaking pointed at the Ristic Study. Our opponent just definitely has it in for us. Hey, who knows, maybe he'll be able to go wide on the Yuriko player. I was definitely expecting that spot removal to go on something of the Dimir players here. Vamp Tutor during the upkeep, so they just want to straight up draw into whatever it is they want. And then a Brainstorm to stack the top of the library. And after that they cycle a Street Wraith, followed by Dismember going on to our commander, so they're going to have to discard a card to the ward. And they decide to discard the Spell Snare. So doing absolutely nothing this game. But we'll try and have our opponent use his mana to go after the Yuriko, or use his interaction to keep us from blowing up Yuriko. Everything comes in at us, as you would expect. We'll go Generous Gift, because if they redirected it something of ours, we'll get the token at least. And they can just get Yuriko out again straight away. And they can just get Yuriko out again straight away by dodging the command attacks, like I said. But it might be that Vihan gets this one. He just makes all his treasures into 3/3s next turn and then goes wide over here. Alright, phasing out the Yuriko means that there won't be any Yuriko triggers. So we might have just handed it over to Vihan here. Alright, so we go down to 5 and managed to survive there. So yeah, another land for us. Pretty much sums up this game. So I think all we can do here is hold up Anguished Unmaking and go after the Vihan and have them not win next turn. Play the Tundra. Forgot about the unfinished business actually. I should have kept the Arna in the bin when our opponent destroyed it, but doesn't matter anyway. We will point it at Roaming Throne, and it can be Argentum Armour and Sword of Feast and Famine. And we don't have any haste, unfortunately. Could potentially, if we kept our commander in the bin, maybe we could have gained some life with a Nettle Seist, but we don't have all that many artifacts in play anyway. The Roaming Throne is a 12/12 though, but like I said, we don't have any haste, so we can't swing in and blow anything up, and it'd be irrelevant anyway, I think. Although we could have untapped our lands, so maybe could have done something. I don't know. Pass at that and hold up the Anguished Unmaking for the Vihan. Pitiless Plunderer will make even more treasure, and once these have been turned into 3/3s, then they will trigger the Pitiless Plunderer, and you can do all kinds of shenanigans, especially with cards like the Disciple of the Vault. And there we see the Mayhem Devil, which will trigger on the treasure tokens regardless of whether they are creatures or not. And we'll lose 3 life and go down to 2 anyway, so we're not doing anything this game like we keep saying. But we can at least make life a little bit harder for our opponent. I'm going to force them to crack treasures now, so this will knock us out of the game if he cracks enough treasure, and therefore removed Anguished Unmaking from the stack, because obviously we won't be in the game anymore. But like I said, it does remove treasure from the board, so might buy Yuriko enough time to do something. Having everything pointed at us, so maybe should have gone for Anguished Unmaking before the Mayhem Devil came down, but whatever, it's been a bit too strong a game for us anyway. So they've cracked 2 treasure here, taking us out, and 1 damage from the Mayhem Devil goes over to the Ninja. So down we go, Yuriko down to 11, and there is a Crime Novelist, and not entirely sure how Yuriko can wriggle out of this one, but playing it out, so I might have something. Vihan's still in play, of course, and we'll make some treasure creatures. So those are the 3/3s, and just turning in with those. Risking some removal going on there, but be able to ping his way out of this anyway, I think. So dealing 9 damage with the treasures, and just has to sacrifice them now, I imagine. So there we go, Crime Novelist on the stack for a red and a plus counter. Pitiless Plunderer replaces the treasure immediately, and then it's 2 damage from the pingers. So yeah, it looks as though it turned out quite nicely for Vihan. Thanks to the overly aggressive nature of Yuriko, decided not to hold back any blockers or anything, and looks as though it cost him the game in the end. Bit of a weird one that, but we'll try again with Arna and see if we can get some more equal power level going. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and consider sharing the video with your friends if you did. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.